Good afternoon and welcome to yet another Adobe Express live lesson. How's it going, Emma? Are you all right?
All good. All the best for seeing you. It's been a long time since I've been on these, so I'm really
Now
excited to
then.
be in.
Well, it is very exciting, and I'm sure all of you in school are excited as well. So get your comments in. Let us know where you're joining us from this afternoon. You can leave your comments, teachers only, please, either on YouTube or on the StreamYard link. Or if you want to be old school, feel free to reply to the email that I sent you this morning-ish with the links for today's session, and I can get your comments up on screen. No problem at all. We'll be doing that in a bit. So before we do that, we are going to have a look at the usual live lesson rules. But just a quick reminder, and maybe to give you some time to get set up, we do have the activity page. Other way. Scrolling along at the bottom of the screen right now. You are going to need that today. So go along to adobe.ly/num25. And you'll also need Express, of course. I'm presuming you're logged into that. Right, so let's have a quick look at the rules of Adobe Express live lessons. So, number one, Emma, what is rule number one?
Now, it has been a while, but you can pause us anytime that you want. The fabulous technologies that is the video, you can always hit pause and just work away while and get everybody caught up when you need.
Yeah, and I'll be on the browser and Emma's going to be on the iPad, so you're going to see everything kind of twice anyway, so that's going to build in some extra time for you as well, just in case you think we're going too fast. And then the second rule is make sure, teachers, that you're registered for the session, that you haven't just hopped onto YouTube to watch it, because all the teachers that are registered will receive an email from Dom later on this afternoon with a certificate for everyone that's taken part, whether you've done one activity or all of them. Doesn't matter, there's a certificate for you for taking part. If you're not registered, teachers, and you have just hopped on the live stream, then get along to adobe.ly/live lessons and register right now for the lesson that's happening right now, and then you'll get that email. All right, and then a third reason, another reason for you to make sure that you're registered is that on that email, you'll also get information about our Express School Challenge, which is opportunity for you to earn swag, amazing Adobe swag, and also a pizza party. And because it's the summer and we're all really excited about it, you could also be in with a chance to win a visit by an ice cream van to your school.
Amazing. Like that would be
with ice cream for everyone, not just, of an ice cream van driving up, saying hello and driving away. That wouldn't be so cool, So
no, it doesn't just play the sound and get you all excited for nothing. He does so good.
Yeah. So if you're interested in that, teachers, make sure you're registered. There'll be more information on that on the email later on this afternoon. But also, you can click through and get all the information about that, the Express School Challenge, by going all the way to the bottom of today's activity page. And there will be the link and some more information for you there. All right. Okie dokie. Let's jump over and let's take a look at our challenge page for today. So I need to share my screen. There it is. So that's Express, obviously. So I've logged into Express, and then next door on another tab, I've opened up another tab, and you can do that by clicking on the little plus in your browser. I've opened up another tab, and in that tab, I typed this URL, adobe.ly/num for number, or numeracy, actually, sorry, num for numeracy 25. And that brings you along to here. Now, if you've got an iPad or any other device that can scan QR codes, like Emma's got, you could just scan the QR code that's up there on your screen right now, and that'll bring you along to this exact same page as well. So you do whatever's easiest for you to come along to this page. Now, this is where we normally pause to start off with our shout outs, because this is a good point for everyone to make sure that they're logged into Express and you've got the challenge page open. So teachers, make sure that you've sent over your hellos. You can do it. We'll have another chance later on in the lesson, but now's a good one. So let's just see who's said hello. I tell you who the first people that got in. And now then, this is a bit mind-bending for you here. Hello to Mrs. Burns, P5 and 6 at St. Michael's, Killian? Yeah. Sure. There we go. Who are actually joining us tomorrow. So there we are. But when you're watching it, guys, it won't be tomorrow. It'll be today. for you, but it's for us. It's tomorrow. So hello, and thanks for getting your shout out in early. And if you're wondering, hang on, how are they watching it tomorrow? So just in case you can't come to the live lesson, the links that we send out after the fact will take you to the recording. So you can always watch the lessons when it suits you. We've also got Montgomery Church and Wales School. Hello, and thank you, Mr. Francis, for your message. And hi there to Year 5 and Year 6. And I'm just going to check my emails because I think something just went ding. Yes, it did. Here we go. We have got Mrs. Hunt. And I'm just going to... Sorry, I just can't multitask. I'm copying the message over and trying to speak. And it's just too much for me. Here we go. Hello from Dosbarth Ogwen Ysgol Harglwyddes in Bangor. Well, and that's a different Bangor. That's not your Bangor, Emma. That's my Bangor.
Not ours. We do have a Bangor in Northern Ireland, but that's definitely not that one.
No, we got the OG Bangor we have over in Wales. I think we're gonna.
Oh, you have like a Bangor. We have a Bangor.
Yeah, you got a Bangor and we got a Bangor. Yes, there we go. Right. Okay. Oh, and as I'm there we go. As I'm chatting away, we've also got P5 from Glencairn Primary in North Ayrshire. Well, thank you very much for your messages. And I think my email just pinged one more time. So let's just do it. Give everyone a chance to open up the challenge page. Make sure that you log into Express and everybody's settled down and comfortable and ready to go. I think this is going to be our last one, unless somebody else gets one in now and then. If you do that, then I know you're all trolling me. Right, here we go. It's Year 4 Sycamore class in Coed Penmaen Primary School in Pontypridd. Oh, lovely part of the world, Pontypridd. I was up there, Christmas time, playing in a gig in the rugby club. It's great. Oh, right, fantastic. Anyway.
So many creative friends on today. This is super. Hello, everybody. Hello.
Tons of people. Right, let's move on before somebody else says something, and then I'll have to put them up on the screen as well. Right. So, but do get your messages in if you haven't yet, and we will do that later on between the activities, between Activity 1 and Activity 2. Right, here we go. This is mega fun. I love this. In Activity 1, we are going to be looking at and learning about inflation, which normally is a bit boring, I think. But we're going to be learning about inflation through the cost of a Freddo. Now, everybody knows what a Freddo is, right? Everybody, you know. If you've, ever gone into a sweet shop and you are budget conscious, maybe you've just got a pound or something in your hand or, whatever, then a Freddo is usually... it's there. It's one of the things you're considering because it's always been a good value chocolate bar, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Is that fair?
100%. I mean, I even think at one point when I was growing up, it was 5p. But I don't know. That's just showing me age, really, isn't it?
No, it's 10. Maybe you had one of those going off tomorrow or something. I don't know.
Those yellow stickers. Those yellow stickers in the shops are mighty big.
Yeah, no sticker on it, maybe. Well, I'll tell you this. They were launched in the 1970s and they were 2p, but then they were taken off the shelves and they were relaunched in the 90s at 10p. So if you've ever bought one for 5p, Emma, you have been buying a clearance item, I think.
Oh, that's just a good shop I have here.
Oh, yes, maybe, yeah. Yeah, you're buying it at trade price. And anyway, so... but what's interesting is how Freddos have changed price over the years. And if you scroll down, I've got those prices for you here. Now, I didn't go back to the 1990s because, that's last millennia. That's in the last century. So I just took us back.
Yeah.
Just took us back a quarter of a century to the year 2000. And you can see here that in the year 2000, a Freddo would cost you 10 pence. And then fast forward 5 years to 2005, it still costs 10 pence. Incredible. And so on and so on. Okay, so we are going to do a bit of graphic design work. We're going to work with charts. We're going to create a chart and we're going to try and visualize inflation over the years through the price of a Freddo. Sounds like fun? I think so. So let's go.
Fantastic.
Right. So let's jump over to Adobe Express. Now for this, because we're going to be making a line chart, it really makes sense that we've got a kind of a landscape piece of paper, a piece of paper on its side rather than upright. So to do that, there isn't a button on the home page that helps us there. We're going to need to use the Get Started dot. So the big kind of bluey dot in the top left-hand corner, give it a click, and then here in the Get Started window, we want a landscape canvas. Click on that. It'll give you your empty canvas. And the first item has disappeared. There we go. It's a lovely Lovely colourful square instead of Emma. Oh, there she is. And
I'm
on
here.
my canvas, this is all about chocolate. So let's just get a chocolatey background. So I'm gonna go over to Elements on the left-hand side. So down your left-hand toolbar, you'll see Elements. And then when you've clicked on Elements, up at the top, we want to go to Backgrounds. So All, Design Assets, and the next one along is Backgrounds. Click on that. Now then, I'm going to search in here for chocolate. Chocolate. And then I'm going to hit enter. And there are 186 backgrounds, chocolatey backgrounds. So you can then click through them. You can kind of preview them, audition them, if you will, and decide which one of these do I want. Now, remember, this is a background, so you don't want it to take too much attention. I mean, that's cool. But maybe something like, which one was it? There was one of them that I thought it was cool, but it's this one. It's just too busy, too much stuff going on.
I'm
So
more
pick
interested in
a
making the bunny than designing around it.
Yeah, so pick a nice kind of background that's cool but doesn't take up too much attention. I'm going to go with this one here. Right, it's time for us to pass over to the iPad and get us to there. So let me just take my browser off the screen and let's put the iPad on the screen. There we go. Take us away, Emma.
Lovely. So again, we are starting exactly the same up in the top left-hand corner with the plus. And I believe we're going for our little landscape one over here. And just click or tap on it to open it up. And the exact same way as Meredith, we are looking for the left-hand side for elements. You just see the little triangle in the circle hovered over. I'm using a wee bit of a mouse here so that it helps you identify where things are going. But anytime I say click, it's tapping. But in the backgrounds part of the tab, let's go search and let's search for chocolate. Chocolate. There you go. There's the 186 results that Meredith was mentioning, and you can just scroll through those. God, there's so many. There's actually loads. I really like these ones that have like the wee swirly on it, like the melting chocolate almost. I think I'll go for that one. But
oh yeah.
But the problem I'm facing here is that I don't have enough of my chocolate goop. So in order for me to change that, I just need to double click or double tap on my background so that you can see the rest of it. And then you might just need to drag it down and in. So I might drag it something like that and just tap on the gray just to make those saves. And there we go.
Cool. Done. Very cool. Right, let's back to the browser and let's move ahead. Okay, so the next step is we're going to start with our chart. Let's just jump straight into the numeracy here, guys. So now then, we're going to put a chart together. So when you're talking about things like prices, you do want to use a line chart because it kind of shows that those prices may have changed slightly between the year 2000 and 2005 rather than kind of just jumping up every 5 years, which would be really dramatic and painful to go shopping at the beginning of every 5th year. So for that, we're going to be using a line chart. Okay, so to create a line chart, what you need to do over on the left-hand toolbar, underneath Elements, you've got Charts and Grids. So click on Charts and Grids. And then up at the top, you've got the options of all charts, tables, or grids. So we're going to be making a chart. So let's choose that. Now we're going to be making a line chart. Now you do have options of different line charts, but don't worry about that at all because we can create all of those later on with the settings and we'll be having to dig into that. So just grab the first one, it'll be fine. Okay, so here's our line chart. Now, before I do anything, this line chart has got black text and you can just maybe, if I zoom in enough, make out that there's the word value is there in black, but I can't see it at all. Now it wouldn't be so bad with your lovely kind of minty green background, Emma, but for me, I'm gonna straight off change my font color to white so that I can actually see what's going on here. There we go. Right, now then, it's time for us to start actually putting our data into the chart. So I'll start doing this and then I'll pass over to Emma because I don't think you need to watch us both do this at the same time. Okay, so what you got on the left-hand side is you've got the data for your chart here, item 1 all the way down to item 5. Okay, and then there's the number next to it. So what I'm going to do first of all is just change the label on the left-hand side to the year 2000, 2000. Okay, I tell you what, I'll do the first two, and then the next one is 2005, 2005. So, what was the price of a Freddo in the year 2000? Let's jump back over to the activity page. Well, it was 10 pence. And it was also 10 pence in 2005. Okay? Now, when you are creating charts can only take numbers as data. So you don't want to put the P in here. Okay? We'll have to explain that later on with a label on the axis. So, that's all we're going to put in here is the number itself. So in year 2000, a Freddo cost 10 pence. And in the year 2005, a Freddo still cost 10 pence. Now, what you need to do is keep on going down, and we'll pass over to Emma to show you this now, but I just want to pre-warn you, you will need to add this sixth item, okay? Because we got 2000, 2005, 2010, 15, 2020, 2025. So when you get down to 2025, you just need to click on this item 6, and then you can actually type it in, okay? So don't think that you've run out of space. You can always keep clicking underneath to add. If you've accidentally added item 7 and you don't need it, you can just 3-dot and delete that row, okay? So you just need to go from 2000 to 2025 every 5 years. Right, I'm going to do that now, and I'm going to fill in the price of a Freddo on the right-hand side as I go along. And let's just pass over to the iPad so that Emma can get us started on the chart again. Okay.
Fantastic tips there, Meredith. So how do we get started on our side on the iPad? The exact same process. And this is the beauty of the Adobe Express tools. Everything works alongside it. So I've just clicked on charts and grids at the very bottom here. And I'm going to go over to charts and tap on it. And I'm looking for my line charts. So again, if you really want, you can go to view all and have a wee look as to which one you like. Like Meredith says, it doesn't matter at this stage. You can add and remove some of these segments later on. So I'm just going to go to the top and include that first one. So here we go. Maybe I'll drag it out a wee bit. I don't have a label there at the minute, but for now you can if you have yours, you can just tap on the little black icon and make any changes what you need to any of the colors of the text there. So I don't have one now, but I'll change it maybe
yeah, we'll be having a look at those options later on, so that's fine.
So again, down, all you need to do is kind of scroll down into this little section here. We're going to kind of follow Meredith's. So if you want to copy and paste, which you can just swipe the app away, go back into your browser, and you can copy and paste these, but hopefully these are small enough numbers for you to remember what to kind of input there. So let's go back in, and I know that item 1, let's delete that text, and that is the year 2000. And remember now that this is 10 pence. So let's do it again. We'll take item 2, and that is 2005. Click in again. We remember that is now 10 pence. So just filling in the rest, as Meredith said. The next one would be 2010. And if you're just counting up in those little blocks anyway, you might want to do, say, all the years, because that's still in your mind. You might want to do, because I'm only counting up in 5s. I know that one, for example. And then you might go and change all of the ones on the left. So there's always more than one way to do the same thing. So there's 2020, what a year that was. And the last one there's item number 6. So we just click on that gray bit, activates that. And there we go. There is 2025. And then I can go and fill in all the rest there. Meredith, how are you looking over at yours?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so I'm kind of there. So you can see, and Emma, I suppose you'll carry on with that now. So I'm done, okay? So if you want to just check yours against mine up on the screen, I'll just kind of pause on here for a second. So we've got all the years, and as Emma said, that's really easy because we're just going up 5 at a time. So 2000, 2005, 10, 15, 20, 25. And then over on the right-hand side, we've got 10, 10, 17, 25 pence, 27 pence, and then 30 pence, which is the price of a Freddo these days. Saying that, I was doing this session this morning in Welsh, and one of the schools that were on there said that the Freddo in their local shop costs £1.50.
Is that for a pack of 4?
I don't know. I think it should be for a life. It should be for a life-size Freddo for £1.50. I think that's scandalous. It's absolute scandalous. That's called price gouging, my friends. Right, okay. So I've got my data set. So if I zoom back out, you'll see my chart. Now, this chart is correct, but at the moment, it doesn't give any context. If somebody just came to see this chart right now, it wouldn't tell them anything, because we have to, for a chart to be a good chart, we have to include some things. We've got to include labels. We've got to include our figures, our numbers, our ratios. So we've got to get all that stuff in. So to do that, with your chart selected, up on the left-hand side, you'll see this button here. It's the chart settings. So if I click on that, here we go. It'll show you this. So it shows me that I've currently got a legend and a grid. So a legend is this thing down at the bottom, just this blue square with the word value. Now, to be honest with you, I don't think that actually helps very much. So I'm just going to get rid of that legend, switch it off. And I don't think Emma had that in any way to begin with. So I'm going to switch that off. So let's find out what the next one does. Values. Is this going to help? Oh, that's cool. So it actually tells me the price of a Freddo on each one of these points. What does grid do? Let's switch this off and switch it back on and see. Okay, it gives me that kind of grid line. Now, if you were working with really small differences between numbers, that could be handy. The difference between my numbers is quite significant, so I don't really feel that the grid makes a huge difference in terms of making it easier for me to understand. So I'm maybe going to leave my grid off. Okay, what does labels do? Let's try this. Does this help? Ah, right. Now that is a massive help, because before having that on, I had no idea what was happening when I was moving from left to right. Is this the price of a Freddo over a single afternoon in minutes, minute by minute, or what? But now I can see, okay, it's the year 2000, it's the year 2005. Okay, so the important ones for me to have on are the values and the labels. If you prefer to have the grid on, then go for it. But for me, I'm quite happy to not have the grid. Now, you can also play around with the marker size and the line thickness. I don't mind that, because, there aren't that many. If you had 100 different pieces of data in here, then having these massive marker sizes would be really distracting. But with only, how many have I got? 6 pieces of data. I don't mind that. And then the line thickness, I mean, that can come up to, I think that works nicely. Right. That's fine. So I'm just gonna and what you can do then is you can stretch your chart out. Okay, you can stretch it out across. I'm gonna keep some space over the right hand side, because we're gonna do a bit of AI art over there in a minute now. And then we're also gonna need to label our axes. So I'm gonna leave some space underneath and on the left here. But I can always fiddle around with this as I go along. Right. So I'm happy with my chart. The last thing I'm going to do before passing on to Emma is every chart, whatever you do, anytime in your life, if you're making a chart, you must give it a title. Otherwise, people don't know what you're talking about. Okay?
Exactly.
So, it could be just something like inflation in Freddos, or the price of Freddos, or inflation in prices, or I'm going to be really funny and I'm going to call it Freddo-flation.
Oh, that's a really good one.
Thank you. Now, I can't see it because this is black text on a dark brown background, so I'm going to straight away change that to white. And I'm going to pass over to Emma, and for all of the time Emma's on screen, I'm literally going to be scrolling through all of the fonts in Express until I get forced to pick one, because it's time to come back to me. Right, okay, so get us up to there, Emma.
Smashing. So I was playing around with those settings in the background, and if you've clicked off, sometimes that happens. You play around and you click off things. Always remember to click on it again to bring the chart options back so you can make those edits, and click into the slider. So I was playing around when Meredith was talking, and again, based on your background will depend on whether or not you need, your grid. So mine's really difficult to see. Even my labels do stand out quite well. So I might want to increase my marker size and my line thickness to kind of make it stand out. Or the other option then is to completely change your background, because even if I kind of stretch this, I'm still missing out potential numbers. So even in this strip, sometimes you only find these answers out whenever you give it a wee go.
I mean, you could always put a rectangle behind it, couldn't you?
100%. So there was a couple of options there that we could do. So that's a fantastic one. So that's actually one I will do. I'm going to go to elements then just to solve this for all our friends in the background. I'm going to go to shapes, and I love this one with the curved corners. Let's drag that over and just drag it to the size of your graph and your chart, and just make sure you kind of drag it underneath. So you just need to relayer it. There's two ways. You can either tap and hold and drag it underneath. So tap, hold, and drag over on the right-hand side here. Or if you click on your square, click on the three little dots, you can kind of bring it backwards. So send it backwards. So there's two different ways you can do that. And I think that's a fantastic idea. This is why you're the man that's always on these live lessons.
Is that what you're going to do anyway, Emma?
No, I was going to change the background. So I like that idea. I was just going to change the backwards. So I want to go change this, make it a wee bit more chocolatey, and I can maybe, you know what, I can maybe take the kind of brown that's here. Maybe that was a bad idea. That's so you can play around with these things, or maybe I do actually like that. I want it to be more white, or even that mint green. It's kind of nice. And maybe I'll do the same over here. Keep the text, keep it that nice mint green, and make it really stand out. I think I'd smash it. So the last thing,
really cool. Yeah.
The last one that Meredith had done then is add a title. So we want over here T for text. Add your text at the very top. I don't have as a good of a name as yours, so I'm just going to copy the one that's on the example, which is Chalkflation, which is also fantastic. I'm going to assume that's one of yours as well. Was that one from Dom?
No, that was me again. Sorry.
Oh, you're just witty. So witty.
There we go.
Drag over. And then as Meredith probably has shown you, he's going through all of these amazing choices to get really fantastic options. So I'm going to go for this one. What have you got for over in yours? What kind of fun font have you selected?
Well, I've got it's a bit of a favorite of mine. It's called Dynapuff.
I love that font.
Yeah. So here we go. I got Dynapuff. It's great. Now, whilst we're talking about fonts, you can also tweak your font on your chart, because I don't mind this. You wouldn't want Dynapuff as your font on the chart, because you want to keep data on a chart really nice and clear. So I'm actually going to leave that as it is on the Source Sans 3, but I am going to change it from the regular, and I'm going to go for the boldest possible one, which isn't actually bold. It's called black. So if I choose that, you'll see, there we go, all of those white pieces of data there now are much clearer. And you can also bring up your font size as well if you want. Now, this chart is really coming along well, but there's definitely something missing. You have to label your axes. So your axes is just a posh word for the lines that go up the side of your chart and along the bottom. Okay, so the y-axis is the one that goes up and down. Okay, and then the x-axis is the one that goes across. So I'm going to label them. Now, for the labels, I think this font, this Dynapuff font's going to be great. So I'm actually going to duplicate my title. 3 dots, duplicate. There we go. I'm going to just roughly bring the size down. I'm going to just eyeball it to something like that. Now then, what is the best way to label this y-axis? Well, what do these numbers mean? 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Well, of course, it is the price of a Freddo in pence. Okay? So I'm going to put, you just need to explain that. You need to make it crystal clear what these numbers mean. So price of a Freddo in pence. Okay. You know, I could have put just a P in brackets, price of a Freddo, and then P in brackets. But I want to make it really clear. Okay. Just keep everything obvious when you're making charts. You want people to just look at a chart and understand it almost instantly. Right, so I rotated that using the rotate handle here, and that now is there on that side. That's perfect. So let's duplicate that because the font is in the right size. Let's rotate it back. I should have duplicated it before rotating it, shouldn't I? And what do these down the bottom mean? Well, this is just the year. Okay, there it is, just the year. And then I'm just using the pink guidelines to make sure that I've kind of got those centered up with my chart. Okie dokie. Right. once you've done that, you can then start thinking again about, okay, can I stretch my chart down? Can I stretch my chart over? You know, you always tweak your chart so that it's showing the data in the best way possible. Right, let's get your axes labeled then, Emma, before we move on to kind of the last step of this, which is a bunch of fun. Okay.
Cool. So I've kind of done my year just to kind of get a head start.
Ooh, I like the effects on your title. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Thank you so much. So for anyone that wants to know on how to get effects, all I did was add an outline and then I added a shadow and I just colored them to match the theme that I'm going for. And so because I've kept all of those, and when I duplicate them, I go to the three dots and then just duplicate them, it means it kind of keeps all of that nice wee effect here. So what I want to do is I'm going to kind of tap to highlight, and it's missed. If you notice here, it's just kind of missed my little exclamation point.
What?
So just making sure that that disappears as well. And we're going to call this, it's price in pence. And then sometimes people put like the wee P to show what it looks, you know, what that looks like for some people.
Yep.
Some people do that. I'm just going to drag this out, put it on one line. We always have to play around on the iPad with the keyboard, but let's reduce this all the way down and drag you back over here. And the exact same, looking for that little curved arrow to be able to drag it around. There's the 90 degrees. That's the one we're looking for. There we go. 91's close enough. And let's just drag it into place, maybe about here, and using the little guidelines like Mirella.
Lovely. Yeah.
There we go. Is that it?
Brilliant. Yeah, cool. Okie dokie. Right, now we got some fun coming up. It's time to get a picture of Fredo himself, the star of the show, in. So I was thinking, should we try and find one? No, let's create one. It's going to be better. So let's use AI in Express to make a picture of Fredo. So I'm going to go to media on the left-hand side, and I'm going to go to photos at the top and generate image. Or you can use the new generate AI button that is there at the bottom of the toolbar as well. But I quite like going to media because sometimes you might just find a photo that already exists. But anyway, media, photos, generate image. Now then, which one's going to work best? Well, I want him to fit in the side here. So portrait is going to be the best option here for me. Okay? Because I want him to be kind of standing up there on the side. So I'm going to go for portrait. Right, here we go. So let's type in our prompt. Well, Fredo's a frog. So frog eating a chocolate bar. Full stop. Right, what else? Smiling. Full stop. Now then, I checked this. On a pack of Fredos, on a Fredo, he's wearing a yellow t-shirt. So let's get that in there.
That's a quiz. That's definitely some sort of quiz question, isn't it?
That is a serious hardcore quiz question. Wearing a yellow t-shirt. Okay, that's fine for me for my prompt. Now, before just clicking generate, have a look at the styles that you can go for. There's loads of amazing suggestions in here. I tried one earlier and going for a cartoon with bold lines. That works really well. Just a palette knife on its own, that always looks amazing. So have a look. A doodle would work really well here as well. So just have a play around. I think I'll stick with my original cartoon, and then I'll also go to techniques and I'll go bold lines. So I've got two things selected. And then I'm going to click generate. And, it's going to give me the usual 4 results that you can choose from. And if I'm not happy with all 4 of them, I can click generate more, or I can go up and I can change my prompt. I can change my themes, my styles. And okay, here we go.
Wow.
So these look really cool. So there's what Fredo 1, Fredo 2, Fredo 3.
The original Fredo's, the 1970s version for sure.
Fredo 4. Fredo 4's got 3 arms, which is, maybe possible. But I'm going to go. Fredo 1 looks a little bit crazy. I mean, they all look a bit crazy. I'm going to go for Fredo 2, I think. Yeah. Now, when you've got the Fredo that you like, we're going to remove the background. Okay? So basically, to remove the background, you need to say that you're done generating this image. I've finished generating. So to do that, up on the top left, you see the generate image panel. I'm just going to click on the X, and that takes me back to the normal image editing panel, which you'd have with any photo that you've brought in. So let's click on the happy doggy to remove the background, get rid of the background. And there we go, that's done. Now then, what I'm going to do is I just want Fredo kind of peeking in from the side. I'm going to use the rotate tool as well.
Very cool.
And there he is. So I'm going to pass over to Emma, and I just need to decide now, what does my layers look like? Do I want Fredo's eye to be in front of the exclamation mark? Yeah, I probably do. But do I maybe want the chart to be in front of Fredo? Yeah, maybe I do. Maybe I do. Maybe I want the 25 there to be just overlapping his arm a bit. Yes. So that I can get that last 30 pence in 2025 there right next to his head. Okay, so let's pass over to Emma, who's going to use incredible AI. Oh, before we do that, we've had a shout out. Year 5 and 6. Got a message from Mrs. Thomas. Year 5 and 6 from Ysgol y Felin in Llanelli are looking forward to the live lesson this afternoon. Well, I hope you're having fun. And thank you, Mrs. Thomas, for your message. Right, okay. That's me gone, and the iPad is back.
Lovely. So again, loads of different ways to add our images. So just for anyone that wants to activate the generate AI, that little button is kind of at the bottom. So you might just need to scroll in this section to gain access to it. But if you're like me, you're kind of a wee bit old school finding the button. I go to media and then I go to generate image. Okay, there's always one workflow, which is fantastic. But there's always more than one way to be right and wrong and for things to work and not work. So here's a lovely portrait. Let's make it a wee bit bigger to see how it generates. And let's use the similar font. So a frog eating chocolate, wearing a yellow t-shirt.
Hang on, it's changed the word frog to front.
Front, good spot there. There we go.
I was tempted to see what was going to come out. But
That's it, I'm going to put a happy frog eating chocolate wearing a yellow t-shirt. And I'm actually, this time around, I know Meredith has talked about the different styles, but I actually want to write the word style, like 90s cartoon. Let's try that.
Cool.
90s cartoon.
Yeah.
And hit enter. Let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. Again, a lot of AI is just about experimenting with our words and language and different like orders and to see what works best. But I've heard that if you put styled at the end of your prompt, that works quite well. Oh wow, these are very similar to yours.
Nice.
Very cool, very cool.
Oh, he looks happy.
They
He's
do.
very happy.
I'm gonna go for this little dude. I think he looks really cool. And his skin kind of looks similar to the green at the bottom.
It does. It does. Yeah.
So I think that works well. So again, as Meredith said, we X off. We're finished with our prompt. We like what we see. And then now we're just going to click to remove background. And we are also just going to kind of play around to see how he sits in there. I'm currently blocked by my layer panel. So let's just get rid of this little X at the bottom so I can kind of see this and how he's looking. And if I ever want to bring it back up, I can just click on that button there. But I'm pretty happy with how he's sitting there. It's not blocking any of the key data points. And he's still kind of encroaching on. I'm pretty done.
Brilliant. Okay, well, our final thing to do here, and this is kind of an extra, but and teachers, maybe you could go revisit this if you want later on. But it's always a nice idea when you're looking at a chart is to point out something that you'd like the person looking at your chart, what you think they should pay attention to. Okay, so imagine that you're riding a bike. Okay, and think of inflation like riding a bike up a hill. Okay, so the steeper the hill, the tougher it's going to be for us because prices are going up. So, if Fredo's are anything to go by, from the year 2000 to the year 2005, prices kind of stayed the same. And imagine riding your bike from this point to this point. That's going to be really easy across that straight bit of ground. But then from 2005 to 2010, look, we imagine you're on your bike here and you're looking up and you're going up this steep hill to reach this next point. So this is kind of this should show the people looking at the chart how difficult and how steep inflation was. Okay, and then you can call that out. So let's grab one of our pieces of text, 3 dots, duplicate it. Okay, and I would say that it's pretty obvious that inflation was steep from 2005 to 2015. You know, that was a tough time. That was 10 years of prices just shooting up. And you can see then from 2015 to 2025, they've been going up, but they've been going up more gradually. So you could even label that up. You could label this bit up. You could label up the beginning, where you could say that, you know, at the beginning of the century, prices stayed pretty similar for 5 years. Okay, so I'll just do one of those. I'll maybe just point out in here to the, where's my text? Oh, it's behind. It's behind. Right. That's why I can't, it's behind. Right. So click on it in the layer stack, bring it to the top. Right. So I'll just point it out. 2005 to 2015, inflation was very steep. Okay. And then maybe I'll just center that text up. And maybe I'll just squash in my text box. And you could just pop it there. Or you could pop it up there. Okay, just to call it out. And whenever I look at a chart, it always helps when you've got something like that to help you see what's going on. Kind of final idea on this is this blue that I've got on my chart really doesn't mean anything now. And I'm a bit jealous of Emma's cool color on a chart. So I'm going to click on my chart, and over here, just to remind you where it is, up there where you typed in all these values, you've got this little value color. And maybe I'll go for the yellow on Fredo's shirt, something like that. Lovely. And repeating colors like Emma did with that nice turquoise, and repeating the brown, it just brings your design together when you use the same colors all the time. Right. Well, I'm done with that. I'm really happy with that. That was a lot of fun. What a fun way to learn about inflation. Have you got anything else to show us?
The only thing that I would show on that instance is this one thing, and is that if you're working on a graph like this, and it can start to look a bit busy, and you want to highlight that point, is over in effects, you may want to put it into a shape. So like a wee bubble or something like that to really highlight that text as important information. So again, that's the last wee thing. You may want to put it in like a wee yellow box. I'm going to pop it up there because it's really, really valuable insights to all of the data that you've just analyzed.
Brilliant. Right. Now then, that is our first activity done. So I'm going to do this right at the end, because hopefully Dom's going to watch it and it'll annoy him that I didn't do this at the beginning. I'm now going to call this my Fredo inflation. There we go. Chart. So I've named my project. Now, what can you do with this? Well, if your teacher would like you to print it out, then you can download this as a PDF. That's the best idea if you're going to print it out. Or if your teacher would like you to drag this and save it into your digital file. So maybe if you use Google Drive in your school, or OneDrive, or maybe your J2E, Just Too Easy, My Files, wherever your teacher wants you to keep all your stuff, then you could download it as a PNG and just drag that into the folder that you need to use. Or alternatively, our favorite method is to click on the share button and use a view-only link, because you don't need to download anything, you don't need to print it out. It produces a URL, a web link that anybody who clicks on it, they can see your amazing published design. You can also, if you do use Google Classroom or Teams, you can hand it straight into an assignment using those buttons there. Right, now then, that's our first activity done. So at this halfway point, we are just going to remind you that we've got, most of us have got half term. We've got a week off school next week. All right. So after half term, that's in Welsh, sorry, wrong one. After half term, here we go. When we're back, the first week back, it is Ocean Day. And then the week after that is Healthy Eating Week. So get registered, guys, for those sessions by going to adobe.ly/live lessons. We've actually got a live lesson tomorrow, if you want to come back again, because it is AI week this week. So if you'd like to come along to the AI week live lesson, that is on tomorrow, same time, 1:30. So get registered for those sessions. Teachers, we also run free teacher training. So go along to adobe.ly/ACE-UK and you could register there for our virtual free teacher training, which will give you level 1 and level 2 badges and a professional development certificate that you can put in your folder and put in the cupboard to collect dust forevermore. All right.
Just want to highlight at this stage that tomorrow is our last ACE2 session of the academic term. So, and we're going to be covering a wee bit more of advanced AI within that. So if you want to grab your ACE2 badge, and this is the last time you're going to be able to do it with our team.
Cool. So yeah, any of you that have already done your ACE 1, get along to that ACE 2. Now then, and then if you are posting anything online that you are taking part in National Numeracy Day today and you're celebrating it, then please tag us in. Now, I put this in before I knew that it was Emma coming along this afternoon. So I've got Nicole's handle on there.
Super simple. Mine says, did you know Emma?
Oh, there we go. I could have just asked, couldn't I? You know? But there we go. I'll do it now. Did you know Emma? There we go. Done. Right. There it is. Okay? Forget what I just said. So, if you share anything on social media, the only way we're going to see it is if you tag us in. Okay? So, tag us at Adobe for Edu. That's the whole team, the whole Adobe team, the education team for Adobe, all across the world will see that. At Dom Trainer, because he'd like to see it. At Meredith J, because I'd like to see it. And at Did You Know Emma, because Emma would definitely like to see your work. So, if you're posting, tag us in, please, so that we can see your wonderful work. Right, let's move ahead to Activity 2. Now then, Activity 2 is related to Activity 1. So let's jump back over to the Activity page. I've still got it open on this tab. And let's scroll down. Now, we're actually going to use this data because I don't know why I put it here, actually. Because you can see underneath the prices of Freddo over the last 25 years, I've also got the average hourly wages. So on average, how much you would get paid for working 1 hour. And you can see back in the year 2000, the average hourly wage was £8.76. And by this year, the average hourly wage is £18.64. So wow. What has that got to do with anything? Well, inflation, this is kind of the, if you go home today and your folks ask you, hey, what do you learn about in school today? Then I hope you use the word inflation, okay? Because inflation, of course, is when prices go up. But what's interesting about inflation is, well, not interesting, painful, is that wages don't usually change at the same rate as prices. Which means that if prices are going up faster than our wages are going up, then actually things are getting more expensive for us. Because if wages moved at the same speed as prices, then actually everything would be kind of the same. We'd have more money and things would cost more money and we'd be back in the same place. So we have got this fun activity. We're going to make a video now in our second activity, all around the question of how many Freddos for an hour's work. All right. So pick out some years from the data in Activity 1 and let's use our numeracy skills to work out how many Freddos you could buy with 1 hour's wages. And we're going to see if wages have kept pace with inflation, if our wages are keeping up with rising prices. Now then, for this, I'm going to need a calculator. Maybe you're cleverer than me at maths, but I'm definitely going to need a calculator. Now, maybe you've got some on your desk in school, but I'm just going to open up another tab. And I'm just going to Google search the word calculator. There we go. And there we go. Google just gives you a basic calculator. That's absolutely fine. Okay. I don't know what you're going to do, Emma. I have no idea.
Going to use a calculator on my iPad.
Ah, there we are. Excellent. I didn't know that they had it. I didn't know iPads had a calculator. There we go.
Fascinating device.
Right. So let's start this activity. So I'm going to click on the Express icon, top left-hand corner. And I'm going to click on that. It's going to take me back to the Express homepage. And we're going to be making a video this time. So let's tap on the orange tile that says make a video. Click on that. Right. Now then, for this, I want this to look like my maths book. So my maths book in school didn't have kind of lines on it. It was kind of graph paper. It was a grid. So I'm going to go to elements on the left-hand side. And I'm going to search in the backgrounds again. This is the same skill we used when we searched for a chocolate background earlier. But this time I'm going to search for, I don't know, square paper. Or maybe you could do grid paper, maybe. It knows what I'm talking about. 284 results. So you could try a few of these out. I like this bright blue one here. Click on that. Brilliant. And there's my kind of mathsy, numeracy type of paper background thingy going on. Right. On the top, I need 3 pieces of information. What year we're talking about, how much a Freddo cost, and what the average hourly wage was. Okay, so that's 3 text boxes. So I'll do one at a time and duplicate so that I can save a bit of work for myself. Text on the left-hand side, add your text. So I'm just going to do the year 2000. And then maybe I'll skip 2005 and I'll go to straight to 2010. So you could just pick out maybe 1 or 2 of these. You could do them all. It depends how many scenes you want. Okay, but I'm going to start off with the first one, 2000. But you don't have to. You could start off with the last one if you want to work backwards. It's up to you, totally. Right. So there's 2000. Now I don't want a fun font like I had. I don't want Dynapuff this time. I want a kind of serious mathsy font, you know? A kind of font that tells people this guy got this correct, you know? He didn't mess his numbers up. He knows how a calculator works. So I want a serious, I'm not messing about, these numbers are all perfect kind of font. And which one of these fonts tells me that? I also want it to be nice and chunky and thick so that it stands off that background, because the background is pretty busy. Hey, how about this? That looks great. Oswald. There we go. There it is. Now, I'm going to use a shape as a background to this. And Emma showed us that just now on the first activity. So I'm going to go over to Effects. And I'm going to scroll down. And I just want to grab this basic square. Click on that. Click on it again, and it'll let you choose a color. So I'm going to go to Shape Fill. And I'm going to pick, I'm just going to stick to these really pale shades all the way down the first column of colors. So why not? I'll just go for the first one here, this pale blue. That's nice. Ooh. Now that I've done that, I worked really hard on that. I mean, that's a bit too big. I worked really hard on that, getting the font and the color right. So let's just recycle my hard work by duplicating this. Okay. And over here, I'm going to put in, I've forgotten what I say now. What is it? It is 1 hour. Yeah, hourly pay. 1 hour. Yeah, hourly wage. Hourly wage. Okay. Ooh. Okay, or you could do 1 hour's pay, or pay for 1 hour, or wage for 1 hour. And then I'm going to hit enter down to the next line. And what was an hourly wage in 2000? Well, let's have a look. It was £8.76. So I'll type that in, 8 pound sign, 8, full stop, 76. Okay, so let's bring the size down, something like that. Great. I think I'll center it up because that 876 looks a bit strange there over on its own. Right, and then I'm going to duplicate this, 3 dots, duplicate, bring this over, and then price of a Freddo.
10p.
And it was indeed 10p. Right, so the last thing I'm going to do on this step is change the color of these background shapes. So I'll click on hourly wage, go to Effects, scroll down, and I'm going to click on this box. And again, I'm just going to come down the left-hand side here. I've used that blue. Let's skip 2. So let's go for this one next. There we go. And let's choose price of a Freddo. Click on the shape. Choose the shape fill. And again, it was this one. So I did down 2, down 2. There we go. So it just gives me, oops. There we go. And now I've got those 3 kind of toning colors together. Right. I've done a few things there. So let's pass over to Emma and let's see that all again. Fantastic. So we've got the background. We've got our year in the middle. And then we've got an hourly wage or 1 hour's pay, whatever you want to describe it there. And then price of a Freddo over on the other side. Okay, Emma.
Ready.
Take it away.
Ready for this. So hopefully a lot of us have clicked on the A on our iPads, come back to the homepage, and we're going to go straight into this orange tile in the playground. And we're going to create a video. So again, like Maria said, so let's go to elements. And we've got backgrounds there, and we're going to be looking for, I'm going to try graph paper. See if it gives up any different types of results. And it still brings up your lovely squares that you have there. It's got some, there's a crumpled one. I quite like the look of it. And then you've got some other ones down here. And I quite like this little, I like the blue one as well. I don't want to copy it, but I would think I will. Let's go for this blue one. It's a
Cool.
slightly different theme than Moretus. If I really wanted to change the color to swap, I could go into effects and change all of that. But I think I'm happy enough for now. Let's go over to the T for text and get started with our first bit of text, which is the year. And like Moretta said, you can kind of go backwards or forwards, but don't go 2005, then 2000, and then 2015. Keep it in a linear order if you can. So I'm going to go with the year 2000. Let's click on edit. And I kind of like this scribble effect. I don't know. I think there's some of us out there that aren't very good at maths. I do prefer this, like the rough and ready. So, and I actually know which one I like. It's called the permanent marker. Permanent marker. That's the one I like there.
Oh,
the
cool.
more you start to use Adobe Express, the more you learn all the font names, which is class.
That's true.
I'm going to go then into effects, scroll down, and I'm going to go to view all because there's a real particular one that I like this scribble effect for. And I'm going to go into this particular decorative one. It's quite nice. And I'm going to click on it there and follow the same things that Meredith was showing us earlier. Let's go to more colors. And actually, I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to do the opposite of what Meredith's doing to show you what it looks like. Okay, so maybe I want a dark background, which means that I will then need a lighter form of text. So maybe that's for me. And let's do the same. Let's click on the three dots, duplicate, bring it over here, and double click. And this again is going to be my hourly rate. Hourly rate. And then I'll just show you how to change the color on this and then flip it back so I can do the last wee bit while Moretta's taking you through the next stage. So here we go. I want to go change then my effects. So click on my text, go to effects, scroll down. I can't see it clearly yet. So Meredith had chosen this one, so he was able to click in quickly to change it. I have to go back into view all and find my piece. So if you'd chosen something down here, you do have to click down here to go and find the little slider button to be able to go and change the background of your box. So let me go for like a wee purple one there, and then I'll go in and duplicate that and add the next one. So Meredith, you want to see the next stages?
Yeah, cool. Okay. So, well, now we're getting closer to the maths bit here because we need to work out if I've earned £8.76, how many Freddos can I buy with that? If I took it into a shop that was selling them for 10 pence, how many Freddos could I buy? The thing that's making that difficult for me at the moment is the fact that the price of a Freddo is shown in pence, but my hourly rate is shown in pounds and pence. So what you need to do when you're working with kind of two things that are in different units is you need to get them into the same unit. So either I need both of them to be in pounds, or I think what makes more sense here is I need both of them to be in pence. So the price of a Freddo is going to stay as 10 because we're moving everything over to pence, over to pennies. But the hourly wage, I need to kind of change into pennies. Now, once we've done that, what are we going to do? In school, shout at your teachers. What are we going to do? What kind of maths operation are we going to do here? Are we going to be adding? Are we going to be taking away? Are we going to be dividing? Are we going to be multiplying? What do you think are we going to be doing here? We've got £8.76, and this thing, these Freddos cost 10p, and I want to know how many of them I can get for my hour's pay. I've worked for an hour, I got this money in my hand. So what we need to do, guys, I'm sure you've all been shouting at your teachers, is we need to divide. Now, funnily enough, on computer keyboards, there isn't a divide key, okay? The divide symbol that we all know doesn't exist on a computer, because on a computer, we just use the / symbol. Now, for our work, I don't think that's clear enough. So I would like to actually bring in a divide symbol. So I'm going to go over to Elements, and this time I'm going to go to Icons at the top. Icons. And I'm going to search in here for the word divide, D-I-V-I-D-E. All right. And there's loads of different ones there, and I scrolled through them all earlier, but my favorite is actually the one that comes up right at the beginning, because it's kind of a little bit rounded, and I like it. So I'm going to bring that in, and it's there right in the middle there, and I think that looks absolutely perfect where it is. So what we need to do is we need to work out what our maths sum, what our question is going to be. So let's duplicate the hourly wage box. Okay, 3 dots, duplicate. Now then, how do I turn £8.76 into just pence? Okay, well, we know that the 76 stands for 76 pence. So there's definitely 76 pence in the mix. But what about the £8? Well, how many pennies are there in a pound? How many pence in a pound? Well, we know that there's 100. Okay, there's 100 pence makes a pound. So £8 is 800 pence. So you could think of it like that. So it's 800 pence plus 76 pence. Or if you've been doing some multiplication in school recently, you'll also know that when we multiply by 10 and you've got a decimal point, you just move it forward 1. But if we multiply by 100, we move it forward 2. So actually, to convert this from pounds into pence, we just have to push this this full stop forward twice, and it'll actually disappear because it's right there on the end on its own. So £8.76 is 876 pence. Now, I'm sure that was really easy for lots of you, but that's the kind of thing that I'd need explaining to me a few times over. Wow. So there we go. So we got £8.76 turned into 876 pence. Now, we don't need to do anything with 10p because we've brought the hourly wage to match the price of a Freddo. So we're in pence. That's our unit. So I can just get rid of the p there, and then I can, there we go, just have 10 in a box on its own. Great. Now then, and then you can resize it. I'd like them to be roughly the same size if I can. There we go. Brilliant. So that is my maths problem there.
Fantastic.
Now, whilst we've been learning about bringing in this icon, let's bring in 2 more icons. Okay, I'm going to go to Elements, and I'm going to go to Icons, and let's search for frog. And I want a frog that looks like a Freddo. I want one that's fully coloured in. That one's cool. That's cool. That's cool. There's a few cool ones here. There we go. There's Freddo. So I'm going to pop Freddo up there.
It really looks like a Freddo, that one too.
Yeah, but for the price of a Freddo. And then let's get another icon above the hourly wage. So maybe, I don't know, coins or money or wages, or you could try. I don't want dollars or euros on them really. There we go. Something like that's fine. Just show in some money. Or are they Oreos? I don't know. I wouldn't mind being paid in Oreos. That's fine. Absolutely fine. Right. Okay.
The best when you dunk them.
Yeah. Okay. So there's my question. That's done. Ooh. So let's just finish this first scene off by duplicating my 2000 up here, and now we need to work out the answer. Ooh. Okay. Now let's jump over to the calculator. So it's 876 divided by 10. So I'm going to type it in, or you can click it in because that's more fun. 876 divide by 10 equals, okay, so it's 87.6. Now, if you've been doing any maths recently with decimal points, what would you normally do, Emma, if it's 0.6?
We'd usually round it up.
You would round it up. But because we're actually buying something in the shop, the person in the shop usually isn't going to round it up for you, are they?
I mean, they're not going to take that Freddo out and buy.
No, and you can't buy 0.6 of a Freddo. So how many whole Freddos can I buy? Well, it's actually this first number, and whatever comes after that decimal point, you just have to kind of ignore. Okay, so this is where
that's your savings.
Yeah, so that's your change in your back pocket. So 87 is my answer. So I'm going to pop in here equals 87 Freddos.
Fab.
Okay, so let's get that basic layout completed over on the iPad. And then, although we've only got 10 minutes left, you will see, now that we've done that, how fast the rest of this project comes together. Because we've done all the hard work, and now it gets really easy. Okay, right, let's see how you're getting on over there, Emma.
Smashing. So the only thing I'd like to show before anything else is that you'll see that this is kind of aligned quite nicely. You've got your hourly rate and then you've got your coins in the middle. Whereas on my little purple one over here, you've got your price and then you've got kind of got your amount there. So I just wanted to show how you might align that information. So over here, if you click on your text and click in the middle, okay, so that's just the first thing. Sometimes that might be useful. So let's get our elements. Let's get all of the icons up and let's go straight to the end. And because I now know I need to get 3, I'm just going to do all at once. So here's my divide. And I'm going to go for, not that one, even though it's brought it up. Let's go for this chunky one in the middle. And I've made a mistake. So let's tap on this one and get rid of it there. So this is my divide. I now need something to do with pay. So let's click here, pay, and see what it brings me. Quite like that one with all the money coming into it.
Yeah.
Let's go for this one. So it's kind of similar to what we had already. And reduce it down, make sure that you can still see all of your lovely things. And let's go for frog. Frog, Freddo frog, whichever one. Let's go for this little dude. He looks kind of fun. Bring him up here. You might change colors of him later on just to be more representative. But let's duplicate the 3 dots and duplicate. And I'm double tapping to get into the text box so that we can drag on that text. And we need this to be, is it
876? Yeah.
76. Smashing. Do the same over here. Tap on the purple. Duplicate this. Delete all of the text. See, now you're becoming faster the more you use the product. And this is 10. So 876 divided by 10. Make them nice and big. You might need to zoom in to do that. So pinch to zoom on your keyboard to get those little dots if it's small like mine. That's
Hey, I got an iPad hint for you, Emma.
Ooh.
You know the keyboard?
Yeah.
It keeps popping up. Just tap, bring it down, hide the keyboard, and then tap on your canvas, and your box will still be selected, and then it won't be bringing it up.
So that's exactly what I needed. There we go. See, this is a man that has all the plans and ideas here, folks. So hopefully you're following him on all his social media.
I'm just seeing it bouncing up and down.
So let's just duplicate that. And our answer is 87 Frodos.
Yeah.
There we go. And I like to kind of get mine as a bit of a slant, just to kind of point it out to people. So I was just rotating it there a wee bit so that people can see that it's like, yeah, this is my rough maths.
Very cool. Very cool. Right. Okay. So let's speed it up a bit. Right. Let's step on it. Now then, at the moment, none of this is a video. This is just a static graphic. So let's convert this. Let's take this and turn it into a cool video. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is animate everything on my page. And you're thinking, how are you going to do that in 8 minutes? Well, I'm going to do it with the one-click animation that we've got. So select anything on your page. It doesn't matter what, okay? It could be one of your text boxes. It could be one of your icons. Doesn't matter what. But when you click on it, you'll see the animation button pop up on the left-hand side. And it's there if you click on your icons. If you click on one of your text boxes, it's actually the third one along, but it's still there, okay? It doesn't matter what you've got selected. Just select something on your canvas and click animation. And what you'll see there is this cool button that says animate all. Animate your entire design in one click. Yes, please. So let's click on that. And you've got these 5 options. Now, you don't really want the text onlys because we've got some images in there and they'll just be still whilst your text does stuff. So you want to pick one of these 5. Bloom, glide, popping, sunrise, waterfall. And you can kind of test them all out. Click on bloom. Yes. Click on glide. Yes. Popping. Ooh, lovely. Sunrise. Ah, I like that. Waterfall. Ooh, I like what? I'm going to go for waterfall. Right. So that's the first thing that we've done that's taken this now. And it's not a static graphic anymore. It's now a video project because we've got some movement going on here. The next thing I'm going to do is add a voiceover. Now then, what have we learned? Well, in the year 2000, an hour's pay would buy me 87 Freddos. Well, let's say that. Let's say that. So let's go to media on the left-hand side. And let's go to audio on the top. And let's go to record voiceover. And let's go. Counts me down. In the year 2000, an hour's wage would buy me 87 Freddos. There we go. And that's done. Okay. So what I'm going to do next, and then I'll pass over to Emma because my next steps are going to be really easy and I can do it in the background whilst Emma's showing you the animation and the voiceover, is I want to talk about a different year in time. So rather than start from scratch, what I can do is one of our favorite things to do here is to duplicate and repurpose. So this first scene that I worked so hard to produce, I'm going to click on the three dots and I'm going to duplicate it. So now I've got my first scene, which is the year 2000 with all that information. And now we've got the second scene, and you've all probably guessed what I'm going to do. On my second scene, I'm going to pick a different year. And I tell you what, I'll go all the way to 2025. Okay, I'll go from the first one to the last one. And you can always fill in the gaps by going in between, okay, or duplicating again. So you can always go back and fill. But because we're running out of time, I'm going to go straight to the end, okay, and just have two scenes. Right, and what am I going to do? Well, of course, I'm going to change the hourly wage. I'm going to change the price of a Freddo. I'm going to change these. So I'm going to convert the pounds into pence. I'm going to change this from 10 to 30, I think it is now. And then I'm going to go use my calculator, divide whatever that is by whatever this is to find out how many Freddos an hour's pay gets me today. Okay, take us through some animation and a voiceover, please, Emma.
Amazing. So, the animate all.
Oh, I can't hear you. Why can't I hear you?
Hello? Because everything has something happened.
Aha, there she is. Right on.
Smashing. So, the only thing to do then is up at the very top, you can kind of see I'm hovering over where the add animation. So you can click on them all to add the animation, but as Morel says, this one's a wee bit better. So I'm happy. I might just go with glide. I like a glide kind of coming in. It all comes in like so. And maybe popping. Yeah, popping's a bit better. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's hit X on it and go back into this button. If it's popped away from you, that's going to edit that timeline so we can kind of see it all in action here. So if you kind of scrub in, you can kind of see it. And let's make sure our playhead is at the very top for when I go to add my audio under media and then audio, it's going to start from where the playhead is. If it's at the end like this, it's going to carry on into a brand new scene. So do make sure you bring that over the far left, click on your voice over. In this, you might get asked for some permissions. Must have been a while then since I've used this. Let's hit allow, and there we go. Make sure your enhanced speech is on, because if it's not on, I don't know if it's showing up yet. Maybe a little bit of a lag here.
Yeah, no, I think it that bit never actually shows on a screen share. So it's on your iPad, but it kind of freezes on the screen share at that point.
Fair enough.
So Emma's got the same kind of screen as I had with that enhance button and the start recording button.
So I'm just going to record this very, very quickly. No microphones detected anyway, because I must be showcasing here. So all I'm going to do just to show you is the next stage then is how you might be able to duplicate and just very quickly make some of those changes and adjustments. So let's say I'm just waiting for my screen to load on yours, Meredith. Am I delayed?
Oh, yeah. I think you are. Okay. Don't worry. You maybe see if it refreshes, and I'll just show where I've got to. So you can see here's my new scene, and you can see that in 2025. Now then, just a reminder here. So I put the comma in. So don't ever get confused with numbers between a comma and a decimal point, or a kind of what we use as a full stop. Okay, because they mean very different things. A comma is used to separate thousands. So you don't really need it, okay? But especially with bigger numbers, it kind of helps you to immediately read what a number is straight away when you use a comma to separate your thousands. Okay, so I worked out that in 2025, this year, that an hour's pay, although hourly wages have gone all the way up to £18.64, because the price of Freddos has tripled since the year 2000, we actually can only now buy 62 Freddos, which is sad times indeed. So I would add another voiceover in here. So I'd bring my playhead, that's this black line, which shows us kind of where we are in time right now, all the way back to the beginning of my new scene. And let's put a new voiceover in. Media, audio, record, voiceover, and then start recording. If you're on the iPad, it looks exactly the same. It's just it doesn't share when we share our screen. Okay, let's go. Counts me down. But in the year I was going to say 2000. Dear me. Delete. Start again. Come on.
Even
Come
the
on, Jones. Get in the
experts
game.
make mistakes.
But in the year 2025, I can only buy 62 Freddos. Now,
Sacre bleu.
you may notice that my voiceover is slightly longer than the scene. And if that happens, don't worry. You can just grab the end of your scene and drag it out to be at least as long as your voiceover. And then it will have given you this kind of little empty scene, like a placeholder. And you can just 3 dots delete that once you don't need it anymore.
Amazing.
And there we go. I've got my 2 scenes done. Okay, and you can go through and you can compare and you can see your animations. And once you're done, I think my finishing touch on this would be to add in some background music. Okay, and to do that, we just go to Media on the left-hand side, Audio at the top. It's the same place that we go to record a voiceover, but this time you can scroll down or you can use the filter here and search for different styles of music. And I tell you what, every summer, you know, I know it's the summer term because that's when I start getting the reggae music out, you know? So here we go. We got some reggae music here. Pick something that is longer than your video. My video is 11 seconds long, so most things are going to be longer than that, okay? But when you're working on longer video projects, pick something that's at least as long. Let's try this. Absolutely. Click on that. It's going to bring it into your project. Now then, because we got a voiceover, music at 100% is a bad idea. So let's bring that right down. And I think I probably wanted to fade out at the end as well. All right, let's have a look at my how many Freddos can I buy video. In the year 2000, an hour's wage would buy me 87 Freddos. But in the year 2025, I can only buy 62 Freddos. All right, now... You can take this wherever you want. You could even go into your stuff on a new scene. Okay, we could add a new scene. Duplicate this. And on your new scene, you could bring in from your stuff, you could bring in your wonderful chart, your Fredoflation chart, and drop it in there and show the price of inflation. You could put a voiceover on top of it. You could talk about every single year in that data. You could bring in an animated character. You could use the front-facing camera by going into media, videos, and record yourself. You know, take this and take it somewhere totally different. But do remember to call it a Freddo price video. And then what are you going to do? What are you going to do with this afterwards? Well, you've got options, same as before. If your teacher would like you to have this as a video file in your J2E My Files or a Google Drive or a OneDrive, download it as an MP4, but don't download it as 1080p because that file size will be massive. It'll take ages to download. So download it as 720, that's plenty. Or our favorite option is to just click share, view only link, and then anybody who clicks on that link will be able to view your amazing video about inflation. Right. We are a mighty 2.5 minutes over. So sorry about that, but I hope you've had a lot of fun on this activity. And I hope you're going to come back soon. Come back tomorrow because we've got AI week lesson tomorrow. If you're not coming back tomorrow, come back after the half-term break because we have got Ocean Day and we have also got Healthy Eating Week coming up straight away and much more as well. So teachers, get along to adobe.ly/live lessons and see what's coming up over the next few weeks and get registered and come along and let us know that you're here. Right, thank you, Emma, for joining me. It's been emotional.
Fantastic. Guys, get on to the AI one tomorrow. There's a really amazing guided activity that we're showcasing, and you never know, you might be in for an extra reward if you attend.
Oh, now then. Hey, how's that for a teaser? Right. Hey, ta-da. Thanks, Emma. Bye. Bye.